Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Virgo. If Virgo is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's see what these tea leaves have to say tonight. What do they have for us? And so our card is the High Priestess. One of my favorite archetypes. This is one of the initiators, the choosers, the chosen. A place where we take this one's very powerful right here. A place where we take our knowledge and transmute it into wisdom. Now, I do want to look at this one immediately. It's very moving. And it looks not unlike a depiction of maybe the goat wearing a robe. But more than that, when I look at it, I see the lunar crescent at the head there. And just a beautiful symbol of the goddess. I often associate to Diana, but also, you know, the variety of lunar goddesses. And there's a couple gods. I don't know their names. That's terrible that I don't. And so definitely a symbol of change, right? The ebb and flow, going through the cycles of life, the processes, the waters, the emotional waters, the waters of life, being given and taken away, right? Changing their states. And in this emotional place, looking into this spiritual realm, very much a sign of a rite of passage, a marked change in your life. This could be a great many of things, but ones that, we recognize more widely are things like going through puberty, graduating high school, college, getting married, having children, becoming middle-aged. And of course, there are a variety of other things that happen in your life that are rites of passage. But these are, the big ones that we kind of think of, okay? And there are more, of course. But something is happening. Something is happening. And as we have the goat, it seems this is one of the passages that could be aligned with a highlighted consciousness of time passing, death, right? Maybe a birthday, like going into middle age, going into those golden years, losing a beloved. Okay, this is a rite of passage, definitely. Losing your parents, a big one. You know, there's so many things that could be happening. But this is part of these later initiations, the beginning of, you know, deep initiation, as, you know, is kind of coded into most religious texts or mythologies. We know that the fundamental initiation does not usually come until one is in their late 30s, early 40s, right? And so, you know, I think often of kind of this opening into that individuation process when we begin to really look back and start to intentionally heal some of those things from the first chapters of our life. When we begin to go through those, you know, unification and integration processes of the shadow, the archetypes, and so on. But also I think, you know, more so probably than ever because of our lifespan and the way that our society is kind of set up, we don't really begin to even feel like whole people, at least in a confidence. And maybe this is mostly true of Generation X and lower. I'm supposedly a millennial, I guess. Myself being almost 40. Maybe I am 40, I don't know. But I would say, and I can't speak for all of us, but I would say a lot of people in my age range barely feel like adults at 40 years old. I still often feel like I am faking it. I am just playing an adult on TV. But so I feel like, you know, you're in a place where there's an opening. There's a lot of freedom in being close to death. And I don't mean that you are dying. Well, we are all dying, of course. But when we begin to live our life knowing that death walks next to us hour by hour, not unlike Santa Muerte, you know, these devotees of saturnine things, or you know, the many other underworld or death related intelligences, and not to be worshipped. That's not, you know, I'm not necessarily that, but to keep death in your life as you do birth, the joys of, you know, motherhood, fatherhood, growing, marriage, love, all of these things. When you live with death, when you know it well, or at least commune with it in some way, acknowledge it. It shows us itself all the time. I think that you probably witness it every day of your life if you only look outside and see the leaves changing, you know. But there's freedom in that. There's freedom in knowing that this is finite, all of this. And it is shifting, and, you know, it does not stay the same. Nothing does. You know, it gives you a lot of latitude to be what you are, to find what you are, what you want, what you need, to speak your truth, face your fears. Here we have, it looks like maybe a little girl smelling the flower. Also kind of looks like a little mushroom from this side right here. So definitely that consciousness of presence, being there in the moment, smelling the flowers, allowing yourself that space to enjoy things. You know, it's funny, I think about, well, when I was a kid, you know, I went through a lot. My parents died when I was 11 and 12 years old, so I was like made to be, I was an orphan in the 90s, so I was made to be like a goth kid, like that was, you know, my destiny. Everything just aligned in that way. So I kind of had that vibe. I still have that vibe, but I remember thinking how uncool it was for people to enjoy things, for myself, you know, to, you know, just have no, you know, you just, I remember meeting, there was a girl that I went to grade school with, and I met her again years later. We were in high school, I think, and she really loved her dolls. She was still playing with her dolls, and I remember thinking, that's so weird. That's, you know, like, poor her. You know, thinking I was so cool, or whatever, you know, this angsty, miserable teenager. And, you know, I have been spoken to her since, I guess then, probably, I don't remember, maybe when we were in college or whatever, but, I think now when I think, gosh, what a beautiful thing to just love what you love, you know, to be able to be different in that way, you know. I lament being intolerant to that kind of different, because I was different. I felt different, but I was mean about it, you know. Not mean to her openly, but in my mind, you know, I thought that's really silly. But now I think it's so sweet, and I think maybe I was jealous about it. And when I see things like that, stopping and smelling the flowers, I think, God, I've spent so much of my life trying to get back to that. And don't we, you know, don't we, when we've been confronted with the world. We've had enough at some point, right? We can only be so serious so much of the time. We can only be so freaking grateful, graceful, and perfect, and you know, intelligent and wise. All these things are wonderful, but to also be able to just enjoy yourself without worrying about how you seem to others. So much of that stuff is a put on. I mean, it is. And it is. I think about this with people I meet that are, well, and I think this is why I never really fit into like any occult systems or social occult systems, initiation systems, grade systems, because I've always felt, and I still feel, that when I meet people and I'm looking at this, I'm seeing these people coming together here. And looking up, watching this beautiful thing, this sweet moment. I see two people here, hand in hand. I see, which way was it? Not that way. Yeah. Yeah, here it is. It is the same. Two people here. So often, you meet people who are supposed to have answers, or, they have these high degrees of initiation, of understanding. They've read all the books, they know all the histories of these religious figures, occult figures, whatever. But there's something often lacking there. And it's this kind of, there's this spirit of like trying very hard, right? And it just is hard to not notice that, right? And then you meet somebody who's just like anybody. I mean, just some older woman you meet. She's working late at night. She's probably got another job. This was a lot of times I met women like this, waiting tables, especially when I worked at like diners and stuff. And they have sacred knowledge because they've lived life, and they don't think of themselves as something anything but ordinary, but they do. They hold the secrets of the world. They do. You'll find this in your neighbors and your children, your grandparents, the mailman, mail woman, mail person. These people that we happen upon briefly often. These are the people that are the angels. These are the people that are the holy things, the lights in our lives. And, I think with this high priestess energy, with all these images of people coming together, this person in contemplation, this person looking, it looks like, almost mesmerized. A family maybe. A person here, a small child, another person here. It really is just this togetherness in the ordinary, in the unremarkable. That's what is remarkable. That's where the secrets lie. And with that high priestess, you have the eyes to see it. And the thing about Virgos, I think, you know, not that I'm biased since I am a Virgo, but we often are mindful and careful with others. We remain firm in our truth and our boundaries often, but because we're very sensitive, we're very, you know, we're close to the earth. We understand the suffering, the death, the little amount of time that we have here and together. And so, you know, we try to, you know, care for other people, be patrons of other people, limit their suffering. And through that, I think that, you know, we have the ability to truly create deep unions. Not just family, not just romantic, not even just in friendship, but just really knowing people, having camaraderie with others. And I think that's one of our true superpowers as Virgos. And I think this energy is really highlighted here in this reading for me as I'm thinking about it. We're also very perceptive. We can have sharp tongues, very emotional, quick to anger, frustration. So we must be mindful of these things. We are mercurial, aren't we? But that's part of the work. Filtering that stuff through, putting it where it belongs, sublimation, making use of it, doing something with all of that, but not exposing others to it needlessly. So we have some anxieties. And I think, you know, we have another person staring up. I feel like there's just a sense of longing. Nothing in particular. But I think there's just, you know, we've had birthdays recently. And we are thinking about life, right? Thinking about where are we going? What does this mean? What will tomorrow look like? And I think that's okay. We should think about these things. Don't get stuck in it though. Don't linger too long. We have work to do. We always have work to do. Okay, so we're looking at the lightness of being, the earth element. And just gonna kind of stop where it feels right. Right there. Okay. Turn it over. It says truth, serenity. As you continue to relax and awaken, the light within you heals and activates every cell. Nice. Going into a great time of healing. Very welcomed. Hopefully it can heal my lower back. It's been aching. I've been getting a lot of steps and rowing and all that stuff in. And it just, my back needs a little bit of a rest, I think. So I'm going to manifest some of those beautiful lights and healing, and I hope you do the same where it is beneficial to you. All right, Virgo. I'm going to thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, it helps us get into the algorithm. And as we know, the algorithm is kind of the ruler of all things now. And we like to make it happy by giving it the engagement that it wants. If that is liking the video, watching the readings from the beginning to the end, sharing the link for the reading on other social media platforms. Of course, you don't have to do any of these things, but I feel like you might be more inclined to do one or two of them if you are still here listening to the end of this video. But I won't be mad at you if you don't. If you have not subscribed, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It will let you know when the next videos are coming out. Other than that, if you want to leave a comment, I read every single one of them and I reply back to them. Sometimes it takes me a day or two because I am replying back to every comment. So, yeah, I have to read them and take them in. And yeah. All right, Virgo. We're going to talk in just a few days. I love you.